So I get invite our first speaker, Lakshman. How are you doing, Lakshman?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
Yeah. Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Thanks for asking. Yeah. So data migration with using Azure Data Factory. In summary, in 2 lines, I can just tell about what you will covering in this session. In short.
Okay, today I'll be explaining about what is the data migration and how we can plan and couple of Azure data using Azure Data Factory, how to migrate from on-premise to the Azure.
Oh, that's excellent. So on-premises to Azure, that is an excellent thing. I want to learn that. So the stage is all yours. Okay, you can present your slides.
Okay. Hi everyone. Hope you guys are doing great. So today I'm just going to discuss about data migration using the Azure Data Factory and what are the techniques the industry we are following for the data migration and how the Azure Factory helps in terms of data migration. So my name is Lakshman and I'm working as an IT consultant, over 15 years of experience in IT industries. So I work on the data migration and BI, Microsoft BI projects, as well as data integration and reporting. So this is about me. Okay, today this is the agenda I'm trying to cover. Data migration and the types of data migration, strategy and planning, and Azure Data Factory. And some on demo how to migrate from the on-premise to Azure environment. Okay, what is data migration? Hope you guys are mostly most of the application when we are upgrading or when they are moving their own storage to another one, the main topic is data migration. So its data migration is a process of moving data from one storage or computing environment to the another one. So, and if you see the data migration, it's kind of very big process, and most of the projects it is recommended to use data migration as a separate project, not included as a part of module on project execution. So when we are trying to include in one model in the existing, in the project, so there are more chances of failing. From Gartner, it's 83% of data migrations are failing or the exceeding the budgets and the implementing schedules also. So why this is happening for most of the, even you if you plan very well, and there are, you can always expect the unexpected. So so this is so we'll cover up how what are the planning we can do to overcome all those data migration issues. Okay, why do we need data migration? So for example, when you are shifting the house, most of the guys experience this one. So when you're shifting the house from one place to another one, so you'll be using a lot of movers and packers, or you can call your friends to, hey, come, let's give me a hand for a helping hand. Let me move the things from one place to another one. You can call this one. But when you're doing the shifting the things, you need to do the planning. So what types of normally we do the planning while shifting the house? So we'll be first analyze the things existing in our house, and how many what is the transport mode we need to shift to the new place, and how long it will take, and what is the cost, and how many resources we'll be using. So all those things we need to plan. So so the same thing applicable in the data migration. Suppose if you have too many things in your house, and if you hire a small truck and it will not fit, and you need to do for the 2 times. So this will give you this will increase the shifting from one place to another one. The same thing will happen for the data migration if it is not planned well. So, okay, how many types of data migration we have? Okay. In the data migration planning, we have application migration and storage or DB migration, on-premise to cloud migration, and data center and business process migration. So, these many types of migrations we have. And what is application migration? So the process of moving application program from one environment to another one. So when we are having the we have an application, existing application, legacy application. Suppose you want to move to better environment or the new technology. So existing application we need to move from one platform to another one. So it can be a data center, one data center to another. Sorry, one on-premise to another better environment or to the cloud, or just application upgrade. But whatever it is, we need to plan well for the migrating strategy. And storage migration or database and database migration. Storage migration occurs when when we are moving to modern technologies. Suppose when you are using the outdated equipment. So that one, if you want to give a better service to the customers, you need to upgrade your hardware details. So those things you need to do for the storage migration. So earlier we will be using the hard disk and all, then you will be for the better performance, you'll be moving to the solid state drives. So from hard disk drive to solid SSD, you need to move the data. So this is called storage migration. And database migration, it's not just a place to store the data, it provides a structure to organize information in a specific way. So it's like all the DBMs you can see, you would have heard about the from SQL SQL to Oracle to SQL, and their version upgrade also from SQL 2000 to 2000 higher environment. You will higher version. You will be you would have heard about upgradation. So all those things called DB migration. And business process migration will happen when there is a merger. Some new company comes and take over the another one. So they want to merge all those existing companies' business to their process. So all this will include the application, customers, and product and their data. And data center migration, it is mostly the infrastructure. So when you're having the small one infrastructure to another one, you need to basically you need to give the so you need to give the better IT equipment. So sorry. Okay, you need to include the data and the business application to the new servers and storage systems. That is called data center migration. So then on-prem to cloud migration. So you'll be having your private network, even office network applications, which is running in the intranet. So now you want to move to the cloud for the better performance. So for those on-prem to cloud migration also happening. So all these are data migration, types of data migration, and how we can plan the data migration and its strategy. So when you call it data migration, it will be like two types you can call it. One is Big Bang migration, another one is trickle migration. So the Big Bang migration is nothing but it's like a full transfer within a downtime. So when you are moving from the one environment to another one, it will have an impact on the current running business. You have to down the system or you need to plan accordingly. So the Big Bang is one full transfer, it will happen within the downtime. And it is less costly because it is happening in particular windows time. And the rollback, when you actually rollback will be expensive, as you are moving from you are moving huge data from one platform to another one. If something goes wrong, rollback will be very expensive and high risk of failure, and in terms of business continuity also. So if something goes wrong, and it will have very since the rollback is very expensive and very tedious tedious job, then it will have an impact on the business. So there is another something called trickle migration. So which is data migration will be happening in phases. So when you have this, take any business, it will have multiple applications. Instead of moving all the applications in one shot to the another environment, so you can select critical application and certain models first. You can move from one place to another, one environment to another environment. And this one requires multiple environment at the same place. I mean, data migration environment, you need to have multiple data environment, data migration environment you need for application to test. And the rollback, if something goes wrong, it will be easy to roll back, because anyway you are moving certain models, and you will have more control over the migration, and you can do the rollback. And here even something goes wrong also, it is very less. I mean, you should be able to, you should be in the position to control and roll back immediately. So this is called trickle migration. So when you're deciding the migration, you need to just think of what is your business need. If the business is it shouldn't we shouldn't do the downtime, and it should continue, then we should go for that trickle migration. It is like phase by phase you can move it, and in normal project way it's agile type data migration. Okay, when we are going for the data, when you are doing the data migration, there are certain process we need to follow. So first, before starting the project, we need to analyze. That is first phase called analysis and discovery. We need to analyze the source systems and their existing documents. So when you are analyzing source system and existing documents, you need to know that what type of data and how much data they will be having, and what are the criticality of data, and you need to segregate the data. Suppose master data and transactional data and the dependency, uniqueness, and data patterns and qualities. All those things you need to analyze in the analysis and discovery and extract profile. Although this one you need to do in the first step of phase. Once you do the extract and profiling, so you will be knowing the better. I mean, you will be knowing the data patterns and quality, and how many how huge the data will be you are going to move. So you will have better planning to move further. Then we need to do the data cleansing. So once you got for example, when you have when the company is taken over by another one, you'll have the so many applications, they have to merge with the another application. So for that we need to do the data cleansing. So you need to remove the, when you have legacy system for using for longer period, there are more chances of duplicate data will be there, and you need to clean the data based on the business rules. Each company, each application will have separate business rule. So you need to review all the business rule and validate and move the data from and do the cleansing. Then you need to do just before staging, you need to validate whatever that cleansing part is done. You need to verify with the business and get the sign off. So this is kind of preload reports. You can create some preload reports, or some mostly here this phase we'll be using the SQL tool to analyze the data. So you need to see what is the normally it's a quantitative and quality report match you need to do. So this is my source data, this is my staging. This one is mostly called staging data. So you need to run the reports and verify the data quality and the quantity. Then once that validation is success and you get the business sign off, what you can do, you can do the you can start the loading process. Mostly this this is actually called data migration. So this loading process will move to the target system. So once this loading is completed, data migration is completed, you need to run the post load data validation. So there are the post load reports. It should be having the, you should know the what is the source coming from. I mean, what how many records coming from the source, and how many loaded, and how many records in the validation process we cleansing and validation cleansing time, we remove the records. And while loading data loading, so data loading to target system, how many errors it occurred, and whether it has to be solved and it should be reloaded. Once this is done, and we can get the business sign off. So this is the overall data migration process. In most of the data migration process, this is the steps we follow. Okay, and the data migration, there are many tools available. Earlier, when earlier we have in Microsoft SSIS we are using, and you can use SQL SQL Server also, SQL script to migrate from one file to the another file. Sorry, another database. You can use that one. And now today we are cloud side Azure Data Factory. We are using in the data migration. So this is cloud-based service, so which helps the data migration and data integration. So how many types of, I mean, when I'm just focusing on the what are the main features we'll be using in the Azure Data Factory. I'm not going through all the ADF features, just taking features required for the data migration, mostly used in the data migration. So when we are loading data from one place to another one, it's like one full load you can do, and or you can do in the phases, stage wise, phase one, phase wise you can do. So for that, every time when you are checking, it should be verifying what is the earlier load, and come incrementally you can load the further I mean new data or updated data. So this one, Azure Data Factory, it provides something like watermark or the signature process, which will compare the existing data and the new incoming data, and it will compare and it will load the required data only. And this is one delta loading. We can call it as a delta loading. And there is another one where it has such change version. So when you are this is kind of table control, we can call it table control data migration. So when we are moving from one place to one table to another one, it will have a version history. It will, for example, it will take the date of data migration. So once when you run the migration next time, it will take the particular it will take the latest of, I mean, after the given date of migration, previous date of migration, it will take the data and it will move further. And this that one is for the SQL or table, I mean, one database to another database we can perform. And when you are using the files, so most of the systems, legacy systems, they will be sending the CSV files. So when you are using the CSV files, based on the last modified date also, you can specify which one to pick up, which one to ignore. So this one we have Azure Data Factory, we have a option to pick up the files which is based on the last modified dates. So these are the demos I'm planning. First demo, I'm just moving on-premise to Azure, then incremental loading. I give one demo on the incremental loading and schema drift mapping data flow. Okay, let me open the. Okay, this is Azure data, Azure portal. So here I have a storage account. I created data factory and resource. I already created a SQL server and a database. So first, let me open the data factory. Okay, when we are moving from on-premise to Azure environments, so you need to have integration runtime to be to be installed in the on-premise. So integration runtime is nothing but it will when you're connect any data, I mean any two sources, when you're trying to connect from one source to another one, you need the basic link service and data set you need, and the links and the integration runtime, which enables the data set to get the to get the Azure environment to read the log on-premise data. Okay, here my requirement is I have a source file locally. I mean, in my locally I'm maintaining in my local system. So this is my this is considered on-prem. So I have already integration service, Microsoft integration runtime is configured in my local, and it is running in my local system. So this will allow me to connect Azure to connect my local on-prem environment to read these files. Okay, what I am doing here, I am trying to I am going to copy these files to the Azure Data Lake. So let me open the storage account. Okay, let me clear this. This already I tested. Okay. Okay, my requirement is I need to move those files into the Azure Data Lake under this folder, under incoming files. Okay, in the Azure Data Factory, when moving data from one place to another one, we have some copy we can do the copy activity task or data flow. So data flow, it is yes, I haven't installed the Azure Data Explorer. That's why I'm using this. Okay, copy activity. So here, before that, let me show about the link service. So here my link service. So link service 1, it is connecting to my local on-premise. So when you are creating the link service to the on-premises, so this is my Azure runtime. You need to create a integration runtime for on-premises. So it's self-hosted integration. I will tell you how to install this integration runtime. Then you need to give the host. This is my source where in my on-premise where the file is located, and this is my username password. So this link service will connect my on-premise environment. And another one, the target environment, Azure Data Lake Storage. So there we need to create another link service. So this is my link service which connects the target environment, which is my storage account. So once the link service is ready, you need to create a data set for the source as well as target. And before that, you need to check that integration runtime should be up and running. So this is my on-prem integration service, which is installed locally, and it is you need to make sure the status is running. Okay, then first we need to create a data set for the source files. Okay, this is my data set created for the source. So this is my source path which is there in my on-premise, and this is the folders, and I am reading all the files. So you can check whether that link service is still working. Yep. Then the target is I created a data set for ADLS. So this is my target. So under this container, I created an incoming folder. So this is where my all files will be moved. Okay, I created a pipeline. The pipeline contains one copy activity which moves the on-premise data to the ADLS. So in that source, in copy activity source, yeah, let me come back later. Yeah. Okay, in the copy activity, when the source data set I selected, and this is my CSV files, and the target, this is my sink where the data set I created for the ADLS data set. And I'm not using any import schemas. So this pipeline contains one copy activity. So let me run this. Okay, now it's succeeded. Okay, now all those files is copied. Okay, yeah. So I have 4 files from the local. So all these files moved into the Azure data lake storage environment. Okay, now so from the ADLS, I have another demo. From the ADLS, I'll be moving those to the SQL database. So this requirement is so I have files from the same files there in the ADLS. So I'll be moving those to the SQL server. This SQL server under employment DB. Let me open the storage Azure Data Studio. So from the ADLS here, I'll be moving all those data into that employee table. So this is my, I already created this table. Let me clear the existing data. Okay. Yep, I don't have any. Okay, this one same. I'm using the same copy activity for ADLS to SQL table movement. So here, okay, what we can get when normally in the data migration scenario or data integration scenario, every time you will be getting the new files loaded into the ADLS. So you need to load only the latest files which are newly come in the files, not in the already existing files. So based on the last modified, we can move the select the files which has to be loaded. For example, normally in the industries, for any industry, some changes will happen in the previous day data. So they will be changing their files. They will be changing the files and sending the same file again. So that based on the modified data, you should be able to select those files as well as. So this one I'm giving the path of the ADLS source, and the filter is I'm giving dynamically. I will be selecting whenever you run the ADLS, it should be selecting the last 2 days, today's days and the previous day, last 2 days files, modified files. It will read the data. So here the function is add date, and UTC now it will give the current system date and time, and -1 it will like 1 day, it will go to the previous day, and from there to the current file. And if you have your target, if the source ADLS have the multiple hierarchical folders, you can recursively this one, it will recursively go through the file and go through the folder, and it will read the file. So now we have only one folder. So just I'm moving this data. So I'm just sorry. Okay, now it's completed. It should be 100 records. Yeah. So now this all the, and we have, okay, here we have 4 different files, right? So these 4 different files, it's like region wise I split it into the 4 different files. So now that 4 different files are loaded as a one single table, loaded into the one single table. So you can see that region. Okay, so these are the, I mean, each file will have different coming from the different region. So everything will be loaded into the one place. From here you can run the report, or you can further take it up from the as a consolidated data. Then let me go to the schema drift. Okay, when the data migration, any data migration, when the customer is sending the files. So if when you're trying to migrate different sources, different systems, you cannot expect everybody will follow the same template. But it is recommended. Well, you should everyone should follow the template. When you are asking for the data, you should be giving the template. Okay, this is the template I'll be loading into the table, because this template should be decided, should be discussed with the customer and mutually agreed which data you are going to retrieve from the legacy systems and loading in going to load into the target systems. But sometimes even if you agree with some template, there are high possibility of getting the wrong data or missing, I mean, misaligned data or schema changes. So how to handle those one? Our data migration should be able to handle all those drifted, I mean, schema changed schema change data migration also. If in case of any file comes with wrong schema, it shouldn't fail. It should proceed, and whichever data is coming, it should be loaded. So for that, in earlier in SSIS, you have to define schemas. So if any new schema comes, you need to change the SSIS packages, and you have to deploy again and run the package. But here on Azure Data Factory, it provides a feature called schema drifting. So if any change in the source files, it should automatically this Azure Data Factory will handle the data migration. So here I have one demo for the schema drift. Okay, my requirement is for sorry. Let me go to the storage account. Okay, here I have file. So employee data.csv. So I have employee code, name, date of birth, date of joining, and department and salary. So this is the data I have. So I want to move this file into SQL Azure SQL table. So I already created a table in SQL Azure SQL table. So here I created the same field from the source. So first let me run this, load this data, then I will change this source and I'll show you how it fails and how we can handle this one. Okay, this is my data flow. So when you're starting the new data flow, I'll show you the how it appears. Okay, when you start the new data flow, you need to select the source. So here there are some options available. Schema drift. This will allow you to load even the source file schema changes. When you are seeing schema changes, it can be missing totally. First time it will be coming with 5 columns, then second time 7 columns added with the new 2 columns, and the third time they'll be sending with 3 columns. So in any case, in all these cases, our data flow shouldn't fail. Okay, this is my data set. So I created a data set. This is my employee data, which is loaded into this is my employee data. So this source I have selected here. Let me check whether it is same or yeah. So I selected the allow schema drift and projection. I'm not selecting any projection or not defining anything. Sorry. Let me create a new. Okay, I'll create a new source. Okay, without schema drift, I'll try to load. This is my sync employee master. So to run this, I need to add this to the pipeline. So under this data flow, I need to select the okay. I need to enable to run to test the debug the data flow. You need to enable the data flow debug. Otherwise, it will not allow you to debug this. It will take, yeah. Okay, meanwhile, I will explain the integration runtime. So integration runtime you can download from the Microsoft in ADF website or in the Microsoft. So this is the set of files you need to download into the on-premise servers where you want to connect Azure Factory Azure to your local, your on-premise. So this will enable Azure services to connect on-premises to read the data from the on-premises. This. Okay, this is my local IT policy. So that installation will take 5-10 minutes only, but I'm just showing the screen. Once that installation is completed, all you need to do is from the Azure Data Factory, you need to copy the key and place into the okay. If it will affect our existing process. All you need to do is you need to copy the key into the integration service. So once it's connected to your data factory, the service will be running, up and running. Not sure why it is running, taking longer time. Okay, let me open the existing one. Let me go through quickly. This is my, already I created this data flow schema drift. So here the source, I already explained, I enabled the schema drift. And we have infer drifted column types. It will detect the incoming source column types. So when you are loading the file CSV files, everything it will be detected as a string, because it is in the CSV file. The default function is it will detect even the integer value. I mean numbers will be shown as a string. So when you select this drifted infer drifted column types, it will detect based on the data type. It will detect if it is numbers, it will integer or short, it will show. And validate schema is when even when you are selecting the allow schema drift, you want to fail the data flow task. So you need to select this one, because if you are not selected, even the schema is not matching. This allow schema drift will let you run the program. Okay, let me click. Okay, this is my source. This is my sink. So here I enable in the employee master. So I'm just inserting the data, and since I already created the table, I'm just keeping it as none. Okay. So now what is happening is it is moving my employee data into the employee master. Oops, already there is a data. But still running. So already have 12 records. It should be inserted more. So I have 6 records. It should be. It will take around 3 or 4 minutes. For data migration, yeah, from the database DBMS upgrade, there are multiple data migration tools are available. So those one, it is like mainly from one database to another one. So they are but when you're dealing with the files like legacy systems, it will give you the files only. I mean, see, most of the legacy system, they will extract the data as a CSV files. So normally what in the process is, they'll be loading all those in the SFTP server in the encrypted format. So from the encrypted format, the our data factory or any ETL tool will connect the SFTP server and read the data and loading into the target. So let me check it's completed. Sorry, not this one. Yeah. If you see there, it's inserted. And if you see, there are null columns also there some. This one, this is integer, these are the date type. So it is not able to detect the, we need to convert this into the date field. So let me connect this one. So for that we need to do the derived column. So here you need to specify date of birth. Date. So let me check the data preview. It's fetching data from the source store. Oh, I entered wrongly. Okay, here you can see that once I enter the data conversion, now able to view. Let me run the data, but by I think it is not working. Okay, just hold on, let me see. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's my mistake. Okay, basically what we have to do is we have to date, it will convert from convert the string to date format, but since we don't have the schema input schema, we haven't imported, so that incoming source, it should be I mean incoming schemas we should detect based on the column name. So you need to give the field by DOB, convert this to the date of birth based on date of birth. This will convert into the date formats.
Lakshman, do you We have more things to show, is it now?
No, just 1 minute. 2 minutes. Let me finish.
No, because there's some questions there in the chat. I mean, you can
Oh.
just have a look on that. I mean, like, it's really a very impressive session you have done, but we have to respect the second speaker. I think she's also waiting. So maybe you can just ask some questions, and also it will be much easier so that we can, sorry about that, man.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I understand. Yep. Okay, so possible does need to install the DB server, or does it? No, it should be okay. The self-hosted you need to install in the whichever servers you want to connect from the Azure side. It should be running on the DB server. That is one way. There is other way, another point. There you can, suppose existing integration runtime is running in the server. You can specify. You can connect that integration runtime also. That also possible. We have DB update migration on premise environment. Which tool is recommended? Okay. This one it is depends on your mostly you can use normally in the Microsoft side. I can suggest SSIS is if you are just on-premise migration, SSIS is the best tool. And if you are going for the cloud, Azure Data Factory, you can definitely, it's a good tool for the migration. It is like you can, for the upload, you can install the Azure Storage Explorer, just drag and drop, you can upload the files. Okay, that's all. I mean, I missed one more. I need to check another one or so, but yeah, since we don't have any time, I'm stopping here. Thank you, Pio. Thank you all.
Yeah, it was an amazing session. Thanks a lot. I think like Pio, Asif, and all the people who are attended, it's a very, very amazing session. And I think that you see that today a lot of people joined. I think because the Data Factory, Azure Data Factory was one of the hot cakes and very interesting session. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Lakshman.